today is just a quick overview of where I am on the project 1935 rally. As you can see and as you will know, I have prepared the front wheel. That is now ready to refit, but before I do that, I'm going to clean up I'm going to clean up the frame and the forks while the wheel is off, because as you can see it's pretty grimy. So I'll clean all this up. It should come up reasonably well. The chain will also be the next thing to come off as well, so I can service that. Also the bottom bracket, all the brake rods and brake gear, which all appear to remarkably well preserved. You'll notice there I've fitted another oiler because in the very first video when I brought this bike home from Bewley, you may remember the cap was missing and it just had a piece of rubber or plastic, a plug that someone had fashioned. So I've fitted that. However, it's not the correct 30s one, but there is one on the way, a proper Partridges one, like the one in the front hub, and hopefully the rear as well when that gets cleaned up. There is a split in the mudguard stay there, the bracket. I'll have to get that brazed up. It was still fairly solidly attached to the bike and through here, but that needs repair, and that's the only thing I've found that needs a more in-depth repair at the moment. You can see there is still a trace. This is where the brake clip has moved. Traces of the original golden red lining, which is quite exciting. There's still, little bits to be seen of it. It's a very interesting construction of bike, really old school, with these crimped ends here, and then these are separate, the rear seat stays that have been bolted on, but you cannot argue that it is, in the history of the bicycle, this is a modern bike, what we'd call the modern era. It's got all the makings, the lines are there and everything. This is the sort of machine that endured for, well, nearly a century, and its frame design is still basically the same now for the commuter bikes. The lighting set, well, this is a bit of a jumble of parts really. This is not original to the bike. It didn't have this on it when I acquired it, but this is a set from my collection, and I don't know whether I'll keep it on. I'll probably run it without lights first, because I don't need them. I won't be needing them on this, certainly not for a good few months anyway, but I was just having a play around with it, because This, from my limited research, it's a Lucas set, and I think this wire is actually a lot longer. I've just sort of coiled it up inside the headlamp. If I'll just open this, I've just coiled that up in there to shorten it just for the time being, as I was playing around. But I suspect that this is for a dyno hub. It does have the space for a battery inside it as well, with the 3-position switch. But given the length of this cable, it's a 2-core, as you can see, twin flex feed and return, which you'd get on a dynamo, a dyno hub rather. So that is plenty long enough to reach down to the rear hub and then some, because I measured it before, and I did notice that when I found this set at the market. It had very long wires. But yeah, I think it's a 1950s set. Certainly the rear lamp is a more modern style than the front, which must have seemed very dated in the 1950s, because they were usually that sort of teardrop shape, streamlined, whereas the style of this lamp harks back to an earlier period of, well, the 30s, hence why I've been playing around seeing how it looks on this. But I will be removing it, I think. The dynamo, again, that's not the right one for this set. This is something else I found at a car boot sale, and it's a massive bottle dynamo. There wasn't any space to mount it on the rear stay because with the rack there, so I put it on the front instead. And it's actually, I've not been able to detect an output from it yet, but if you can see that, it has 2 connections, H and T. So they are separate, or they seem to be separate connections for head and tail lamp, which is interesting, rather than the single terminal going through the headlamp switch or whatever, or doubling up for both head and tail light. So I'll when I get the front wheel on with the new tyre, I will be testing for an output, but I think all this, the lights will be being removed, certainly for the time being at least, because I quite like the look of it without the simplicity of it. So yes, that's it, just an update to where I'm at. And just to recap, I'll be cleaning the frame up next. Be carefully removing some of the brake gear to clean up. Interesting that some of it is chromed and some of it is black. I'm not sure what these stubs are for there, as there was nothing on, unless it is to do with the mudguard, but the mudguard sat a lot higher up and it didn't appear to be anything to do with the mudguard at all. I don't think they are. Maybe it was, no, it can't be, or can it be? I'm just thinking the peg for some of those rally lamp brackets, fork mounted lamp brackets, the safety peg to stop the bracket moving around. But having said that, it has a bracket on the head. I don't know, I'm not sure at all what these are for, so I don't think they serve any useful purpose on this bike anyway. So there we are. I'll be cleaning all this up, giving it a wash. Chain will be being removed today, and that can go in the paraffin bath, and then you'll see afterwards, and the wheel can come off as well, and I'll do the bottom bracket, etc. But I'm just taking it one small step at a time. But with any luck, weather permitting, I should have this, or I might have this back on the road at the weekend. So it's quite exciting. It's simplified. The job of recommissioning it is simplified with there being no chain case, which adds considerable time to the project. If it did have a chain case, that would have to come off as well to be cleaned, etc. So this is, as far as bikes go, this is pretty straightforward. Okay, so thank you for watching. Further updates will be forthcoming.